Hello chefs, I'm Shelby Pedretti with Make Good Food and Make Good Choices, and I'm going to prepare for you today one of my absolute favorites and my family's favorite too. It is a buttermilk streusel coffee cake. It's something that you can prepare very fast. So I'm going to show you everything from start to finish, and I might even take a bite with you as well. All right, let's start with this first. We are going to use my very favorite kitchen tool is my turquoise KitchenAid. I do love having a mixer. I've had one for 20 years. I used to burn out hand mixers all the time and found that they just go strong. So I'm gonna go ahead and use that with a glass mixing bowl. And in here, I'm going to add a cup of sugar, plain granulated sugar. Now, this is meant to be a how-to in the world of cooking, and I want to show there's a couple of different measurements that you're going to be needing, and dry measuring cups, one of them, liquid measuring cup, another. So this truly is a teaching video for students, and because I'm not sure what you have on the other side of that screen, as a home cook and a home economics teacher, I'm going to try to make this as realistic as I possibly can. I'd love to have a beautiful canister of sugar, but let's be real. I'm going to go ahead and level this off. If you don't have a leveler, you can use the back of a butter knife. It'll work great. So I'm just popping in here 1 cup of granulated sugar, and to that I'm going to add butter. Now, this is again a little teaching video, so this is a 1/2 cup of butter. 1 stick, but it's a 1/2 cup. And that's what we need. Softened. If you're wanting to make this right away, you can just pop it in the microwave for about 7 seconds. It'll soften it perfectly. All right. We're gonna grab the paddle. The paddle is the right tool for the job. You'll hear me talk a lot about tools and which ones are the right ones. It just makes it easier. Does this mean you have to have a KitchenAid? Absolutely not. You can use a hand mixer. If you don't have a hand mixer, then you can use a wooden spoon in a bowl. This will work great. The butter softens, so it makes it a little bit easier, but when I'm teaching family consumer science foods classes, we use these, and I like to show the right way to use them. So it's a lock on one side, and then you've got your speed on the other. Talk above that. So this is called creaming. So we're just creaming the butter and the sugar together. While that's going, I'm gonna prepare my pan. I'm using a 9x13 inch pan. I like baking stones. They just lasted a long time. I'm gonna spray it. And I want you to be careful when you're spraying that you don't spray over a floor. That you do it very carefully in the sink or directly in the pan because of slippage. It's literally like greasing the floor. So just be careful. And I'm noticing that is sticking to the sides, so a rubber scraper, another great tool for the job. Hey, if you're outfitting your kitchen, some of my students are close to graduating. I like to share. What could they ask for? All right, creaming the butter looks really good. We're gonna add some eggs to this. And when you do so, we're gonna do 1 egg at a time. And I like to have the opportunity, right, in a custard cup, break that egg in there for a couple reasons. One, if you drop a little shell, it's easier to get it out of here than there. Or if you get a yucky egg, one at a time. And then you get a yucky egg, you don't ruin your whole product. And that has happened to me. Looking good. I'm gonna pull some of these away. We're going to use these in a second. There. Okay. You want it to get fluffy. And Needed a little power. There we go. That's exactly what we want. Okay, another bowl. When you prepare sometimes quick breads or cookies and things, and they say dry ingredients versus liquid ingredients, you gotta use a separate bowl. Don't dump everything in all at the same time. So in this bowl, what I need to do is my dry ingredients, and so flour right here. It needs 2 cups of flour. Now, I have a small opening in this flour. This is all-purpose flour, and so I can't get that in there. I'm gonna do, this is a 1/2 cup. Again, when you're doing your dry measuring, you need a dry measuring cup and you need to level it off. So that's a 1/2 cup, 1 cup, and 1.5. I could have all this prepared, but honestly, I'd rather have you just see a few things like that be done. So here we are. We've got our flour. We're gonna add baking powder and baking soda. So the baking powder is sodium bicarbonate, and then we've got the baking soda and the baking, oh, here we go. This is the baking powder. Both of these are leavening agents for a quick bread. Makes it rise, okay? Sometimes you're only going to see baking soda, and sometimes you're only going to see baking powder. And I need a teaspoon of each. I'm gonna make sure I get a proper measurement of that. Instead of dumping right in the middle, I'm gonna go ahead and just sprinkle it out. And I like that this baking powder has a little lip for proper measurement. It's perfect. So a teaspoon of baking soda and a teaspoon of baking powder, and we're gonna add some salt, a teaspoon of salt. Now I could easily do this over the mixing bowl, but I have in the past over poured, and then I'm in trouble. See, even like that. So I'm making sure it's nice and level, and a teaspoon. All right, let's go ahead and give that a quick little mix as our dry ingredients. Okay, beautiful. We're gonna slowly add that in. I need a little bit of vanilla, and I want to say that I need a teaspoon. Actually, for me, in this cap's exactly a teaspoon, but again, over a custard dish, I want to pour my vanilla, just in case I overpour. Although I love vanilla, a little overpour is okay. In my book. All right, we're gonna just get that blended in. Scraped on the sides. Fully incorporated. We're ready to add our dry ingredients. And we just want to go a third and a third and a third at a time. And the low speed is best so it doesn't go all over. If you're using a hand mixer, same thing. If you're mixing by hand, that'll be really easy for you to incorporate in. And best tool would be a large rubber scraper, or maybe you'd want to use a wooden spoon. But I'm not getting any flour fluff, so that's great. All right. One more item to add into this mixture, I'm gonna cut that, is buttermilk. But I don't have buttermilk, so how can I make buttermilk? A couple of ways you can make it, just using 2% milk. When you do a liquid, you're gonna need a liquid measuring cup. You put it on a flat surface and you go down to eye level. It really makes a difference. If you hold it, you might be holding it crooked if you don't lay it on a flat surface, right? And you can kind of see. So as long as it's on a in a liquid measuring cup and a flat surface at eye level, you're good. All right, buttermilk. How do you make buttermilk? It's really easy. Something that I don't have on hand very often. Oh, I need a knife. And a knife. And a knife block. A safe place for a knife. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a lemon. I've already washed it. What I need is a tablespoon of lemon juice or a tablespoon of just distilled vinegar. It's about a half of the juice of a large lemon. I have a juicer, but this is really fast and easy. There we go. And we have buttermilk. It's awesome. Okay, there it is. So I'll just mix that together. And pour this in. It's going to create more of a in between a drop batter and a pour batter. I don't want to overmix this though. It's a quick bread. You don't want to have a lot of gluten. You don't want it to be tough. That's why with pancakes or muffins or waffles, you just want it incorporated and not overmixed. It's really easy to overmix. So I'm just gonna scrape down the sides. I don't know what it looks like on your end, but one more light little mix. Go low and slow. Okay, now it's gonna appear like, wait a minute, how's that gonna fill up our 9 by 13? And it will. Lift that guy up. Take off our paddle. Okay, this batter looks great. Kind of a little messy bowl right there. How does that look? So it's in between a pour batter and a drop batter. I only want half of this. Let's see, for right now, oops, just a little more than half. And it will feel like there's not enough batter there, but magic will happen. Now, wait a minute, you said this was gonna be cinnamon strudel coffee cake. So we need to make the cinnamon strudel. Super easy. And we're gonna go ahead and use the same mixing bowl. I know, less dishes are better. Pop that there. And so, with this, we're gonna do brown sugar. And when you measure brown sugar, you want to make sure that you measure it in a packed way. So this says 1 cup. 1 cup packed brown sugar. I'm going to go ahead and I just use it like this. It's just fast and easy. It should fall out like a sandcastle. And it's leveled off. If you needed to level it off, you could. So there we are. Here's our sandcastle. And we're gonna go ahead to that and add a little bit more flour. We need 1/4 of a cup of flour in this streusel. Come back over here and get a nice clean measurement. And what else goes in here? Butter. Now, don't make a mistake with this measurement. Mine is in the microwave. I want to get it soft because you're going to blend it together by hand. But this says 1/4 of a cup. So that's actually 1/2 stick. you can count off, you've got tablespoons, you have 8 tablespoons. And if we know that 8 tablespoons is the same thing as a half a cup, then 4 is gonna be our 1/4 cup. And we're gonna use a fun tool called a pastry blender. All right, so we've got our brown sugar, and we are kind of a nutty family. And I'm making this for my family. And so I'm gonna go ahead and add in some pecans. You could do walnuts, you could do no nuts. It says a cup, but we'll just add a little bit more. There we go. Putting it in a Ziploc bag. And really, you just take out your aggression, really. Use with the rolling pin and just mash them. You want them small enough that they'll incorporate really well into the strudel, but not so small that they're little fine dusts. So you can also buy your pecans crushed. That'll be great. So let's take those, add those in at the very end. Cinnamon, here we go. And remember, you can always, you just pop off the top if you need a larger measurement than a sprinkle. And we need 4 teaspoons of the ground cinnamon. So that fits perfectly in there. 1, 2, that levels off really nice. Yeah. Does it have to be exact? Your baking powder does, but your cinnamon, not as much. Okay, so told you we're going to use a handy dandy tool, and that is going to be our pastry blender. I don't know where I put it. It's somewhere. Right here. There it is. If you have a pastry blender, it's great because you do this action called cutting in, and that is distributing your flour and butter, or the sugar with the flour and butter together. You don't have one, that's okay. Go ahead and just grab 2 forks, and you can relatively do the same thing. And basically, you're doing this action, okay? You're distributing the butter, and you want little pea-sized amounts. Do a lot of this in baking, making scones or making a crumble top. That's basically what this is going to be, there's going to be this gorgeous ribbon of cinnamon inside of our coffee cake. Kind of keep going here. Okay, I had a student ask me, is there coffee in coffee cake? No, but I just think it's an adult's way of saying, hey, let's have cake for breakfast. Have it with coffee. It's so good. All right, so we're gonna add in our pecans. That's good. So pastry blender or fork. Either way, the same terminology of cutting in is there. Okay, set that. And here we go. Back to the batter. So it looks like this. Like I'm hiding my mess back here. We're gonna take and just distribute it evenly all the way through. This is gonna be gorgeous. Right. It's gonna kind of just, now we're back to this batter bowl again. And like I said, it's gonna look like there's no way that's gonna fit. I'm gonna take small amounts and just drop them as evenly as I can as I'm watching this amount of batter diminish, I know I'm gonna be able to make it. It'll be fine. Again, rubber scraper is your friend because you can get a lot of that product out. Your batter kind of hides in there. So once this starts to rise and it's baking, it will come kind of up and around that cinnamon filling, and it'll incorporate and become truly one coffee cake. So do your best with getting it to incorporate in there. And I'll tell you what, my students love, love, love this coffee cake. This is what I do for the first day of class. And then we get to sample it. There. Okay, so we'll do like this and do the best I can. Very light. And distribute it, and then we're gonna pop that into a 350-degree oven. And this bakes for, let me take a peek here, 30 minutes, 25 to 35, depending on your oven. And you're gonna put that right in the middle rack, okay? Kind of looks messy, but whenever you're baking, if you have something that just spills over the edge, whether it's muffins or bread, clean it up really fast and you won't have any burning and it'll be easier for you to clean. So kind of looks crazy, right? But wait till this pops out of the oven and we cut into it and you see this gorgeous ribbon of cinnamon and nuts and butter. It's fantastic. So we're gonna pop it in the oven. Okay, the timer just went off. Let's take a look. And I can smell it. It smells amazing. It looks amazing. Fantastic. There's magic inside. All right, let's check with a toothpick. We're gonna go right in the center. I can tell it springs back, so that's one way. And then clean toothpick, so that's another way. We're gonna let it cool and then cut into this and show those ribbons of cinnamon. All right, it is out of the oven. We tested it for doneness, and now it is cooled and ready to enjoy with a great cup of coffee.